Hello, everyone. My name is Claudiu Popa. I'm the founder of Canada's Knowledgeflow Cybersafety Education Foundation. We're a small nonprofit based in Toronto. We work with school boards across the country. We work with communities and with municipalities to teach kids, to teach families, parents, teachers, law enforcement, um, about cyber safety, about how to stay safe online, and so much more. We do a lot of stuff, and we're so happy to be part of the cybersecurity revolution. SecRev comes around once a year. Hopefully, it will come around more often than once a year in the future. And I'm here to give you an update on our many activities. We usually have about 24 projects on the go over at Knowledgeflow. The Knowledgeflow Foundation is at exactly that. You'll find it at knowledgeflow.ca or at cybersafetyfoundation.org. Feel free to go there. There's always new projects. There's always an opportunity to get engaged with, for teachers, for students, for municipalities, you name it. All of it is nonprofit. In fact, we tend to put in more money into the project than there is sponsorship for. But we have a lot of fun with it. We have a small team of about 12 people and a lot of volunteers. So we do research and we do a lot of education. And I'm here to tell you a bit about what's been happening in the past few quarters. Um, as you know, as far as a lot of you have learned in the past couple of years when I've presented, we tend to gravitate towards vulnerable sector audiences. So we certainly focus our limited resources on children and on seniors. And now we are finding that we're able to use technology so much more effectively, and we're able to to open up our growing list of resources to the broad public. So what we are doing is, for every data protection holiday or any special week or month of the year when there's something going on, such as Data Privacy Day, as you can see here, which is January 28th every year, we put up a page with vetted, high quality resources. And as you can see on this page here for dpd.knowledgeflow.ca, there's a direct link to our friends and partners at Serene Risk. You can go to that site and feel free to share it. But the idea here is that there are just so many resources out there, and everybody and their dog is giving tips on security and privacy and so on. And we are lucky enough to have our team distributed between certified data protection professionals and privacy lawyers. So our team is made up of people who know what they're talking about, and we're of course we're professionals in the business, and we're always looking for ways to provide free education to as broad an audience as possible. So a lot of these pages are going to stay there forever. Anything that we put up on the site is going to be there for the foreseeable future. And in addition, so I'll just go back a tiny bit. In addition to the Data Privacy Day, you're going to find that there's Safer Internet Day, which was a few weeks after January 28th. So it was in February, and we put a page up for that. This week is World Password Day, wpd.knowledgeflow.ca. You'll be able to check that out this week. And it's always exciting because there's so many of these things going on, and there are opportunities for us to provide trustworthy resources that can be shared. So the reason I'm mentioning this, especially to you, our partners and our audiences, is that if you can find an authoritative source of trustworthy resources, please let me know personally, and we'll be sure to add them to one of these pages. I think it's the least we can do for the public, and it's very useful. And it's very easy for us to add these. Um, so moving right along, we are working with seniors. We find that seniors respond so much better to other seniors. So we have a mentorship program called Knowledgewise, which allows seniors with time on their hands who have gone through our training program, our certification program, to teach others in their community. We're capturing video. We're turning it into small nuggets of information, and we're sharing it across platforms so that other seniors in their community or anywhere else literally can watch these little videos and learn something that could save their identity or save their money at some point. So Knowledgewise is a very exciting program that that we're happy to partner with the government, with the Ontario government on. So very excited about that. We also have a little program that embraces the fact that kids have this boundless enthusiasm and curiosity about cybercrime and cybersecurity. So instead of pushing them to become, deep, dark hackers and to become, super nerdy and so on, we actually encourage them to build networks amongst themselves and see if one of their friends perhaps um, is showing signs of cyberbullying. A cybercrime fighter would be another kid who advises that one, or perhaps recognizes those signs and reports them. So this nominate.knowledgeflow.ca, this web page, is congruent with our Facebook page, which is facebook.knowledgeflow.ca. And you can find there's a form. And so students and teachers can participate in cybercrime fighter reporting. And the way this works is they fill out the form, and their friends get recognized if they've done anything of value in privacy or security. If they've served to save, their grandparents or their teachers, or they've, sounded the alarm about some type of clickbait. It's an interesting way of doing things. They get a little certificate, and everybody is happy. It encourages them to do good. So this is one of our projects for good. There's the Student Data Protection Week, which was congruent with the one that I previously mentioned. I mentioned Data Privacy Day or Data Protection Day. This one is sdp.knowledgeflow.ca. It's also reachable at studentdataprotection.knowledgeflow.ca, but it's a lot easier to type. And of course, we have all of these cool resources on here from the Ontario Privacy Commissioner, from the Federal Privacy Commissioner, from Media Smarts, all kinds of organizations that we're happy to endorse because of the quality resources that they put forward. This week, I mentioned that at the end of this week is World Password Day, and that's interesting too, because it's an opportunity for us to finally talk about passwords. Everyone's confused about how to manage passwords, how to select a password database, how to make sure that their passwords are unique, long, and supplemented by an additional code, which is multi-factor authentication. So this is our opportunity to add resources to one particular spot where people can just access them without the fear of getting infected, or without risking to access some sort of a sketchy site. Now, in addition to this, we're also launching our Unhackathon. Unhackathon is our response to this global approach to having hackathons. Hackathons, you've probably seen them. They're capture the flags type exciting events that have to do with literal coding or perhaps even some extent hacking. But what we found is that a lot of kids that may not have had access to computers as they were growing up, they feel like they're being excluded from a lot of hackathons and they don't know how to catch up. So we've created an inclusive initiative called the Unhackathon, which allows anyone to participate in some way or another in these activities. It actually has come out of something we call Cyber Day activities, that we go to different municipalities and we allow the municipal governments to partner with us and bring some resources and education to their communities. Very exciting stuff. The Unhackathons are going to be quarterly, but right now it's annual, and we're certainly going to keep you updated with this information. We're looking for partners. We're looking for organizations that would be interested in getting exposure and contributing if they have interesting challenges that can be put forth to different audiences of young people. We're looking for trustworthy resources and partners. So at the end of this presentation, I'm going to have a few links for you to connect with me on. And if you can suggest any organizations that would love to not necessarily sponsor us, but at least endorse or help to promote these events, it would be tremendously useful to schools in particular, because right now schools and school districts tend to have a lot of trouble finding access to reliable, trustworthy resources. I mentioned before Safer Internet Day. This is what that page looks like. Again, very easy to share. There's no strings attached there. It's just a bunch of useful links. As you can see, there's media smarts again, and elsewhere on the page, you will find a privacy commissioner link and all kinds of other interesting, useful things, including the ICTC, which is our partner here in Canada. They their audience is mostly teachers. So shifting gears now to the research that we do. I teach at the University of Toronto, used to teach at a variety of other academic institutions, and now I lead teams of graduate students to do exciting research. Literally, it's the most exciting stuff that we can come up with. We attract groups of students and we move forward with some plan. A few years ago, I wrote the Canadian Cyberfraud Handbook, which was published by Reuters, or Thomson Reuters. And that book was for a professional audience, but we wanted to bring it to the audiences that most benefit from it. So I thought, what better way to motivate students than to have them understand what cyber fraud is and have them help to illustrate it in a visual manner. So here's what that looks like. It's in a Prezi here, so it allows us to zoom in almost infinitely, which is very cool because we see cyber fraud and all sorts of deceptive practices online as being related. So what we've done is we've essentially said, look, there's some low-hanging fruit that everyone sees. We all see email fraud and e-commerce fraud and various other things in a professional setting. We see healthcare fraud, and that's the stuff that people understand. But people don't necessarily understand how money laundering works or how financial system abuses and advance fee fraud works, right? So they find it intimidating. And so they have the opportunity to zoom in and suddenly they see things that they recognize, like romance fraud or job offers and fake business opportunities. All this kind of stuff is available just by zooming into it and learning about it. So we've turned this into a training program. And of course, we're happy to present it to various audiences. If you have a need for this kind of content, please let me know. It's an exciting way. So this approach, this Prezi approach, is an exciting way to present to different audiences because I can begin the presentation from different perspectives. And as you can see, it's a very interactive model. It works really well. And of course, it lends itself to printing to sharing handouts to populating a web page, etc. So we have a web page that I forgot to actually mention on here, but it's fraudbook.ca. Go see fraudbook.ca and you'll see some of these interesting, some of this interesting content that the students have put together. Cybersafety Research, that's another one that we concluded a week or two ago, and this was a set of 2 academic research activities. We had a team of graduating students again, and they reviewed, they first learned how to assess these tools, and they went off on their own and they reviewed these tools by installing them, by contacting the company, by requesting evidence of independent audits to determine whether password management tools on one hand and video conferencing tools on the other are trustworthy. And then they ranked them. So these are interesting things that you might be interested in reviewing because, well, the results surprised even me, right? So for example, if you go to spm.knowledgeflow.ca, you'll be presented with this page, and you can see that the findings are right here and they're ranked. Right? You can see the ranking of these tools and why, right? So we're explaining why this ranking is in place. This was an exciting thing for students to go through, and certainly we followed the same process with video conferencing tools. In one case, it was a focus on security, and in the other case, it was a focus on privacy. So very cool stuff, as you can see. Lots of neat things that make it easier for you to perhaps explain to members of your family or members of your audience why some of these tools should be ranked higher or trusted less, perhaps, than others. We've built an interesting proof of concept in the Agora. The Agora is a very cool democratic online community where people are actually citizens of a place that feels eerily Greek, from ancient Greek, and so there's this approach to this stoic lifestyle, and of course you can join the Agora, and it looks like this. If you go to agora.knowledgeflow.ca, it's a place where you can explore these issues safely. We wanted to see if we could build a social media, a social network system without the typical tracking and the typical surveillance, the hooks that are built into today's social networking platforms. And it was difficult, let me tell you. And yet we managed to find ways to exclude cookies and to avoid using particularly invasive tools to make things work. And we have a number of forums that you can participate in or just visit and read them. It's actually open to the public, so you can read about digital literacy or public education, online safety, critical thinking, and so on. So if enough of you are interested, we can create a SecRev group or forum on there. We've got different citizenship levels and participation levels. Anyway, I love it. It's, of course, I'm biased, but it's a lot of fun, and it's great for associations as well. So it's a good place for us to interact with people who care about their craft. So, for example, my last year I mentioned that I had just completed our first year of my podcast, which was specifically about cybersecurity in education. It was called Cybersecure Ed. It's on voiceed.ca. You'll find it on there. But I said, all of these, there's over 140 podcasters on there. And I said, well, this is a great thing if you could reach out to your audiences and have discussions with them on all these fantastic topics. So we created a a forum for them on the Agora. And this is the kind of stuff that if you're looking for a safe place that is not privacy invasive, I would certainly help you create a forum on here. We do workshops all the time. Last week we did one on invasive education technology and how to recognize it. Now, this was for teachers, so it was fascinating, and of course, it was interesting. We presented to one school board, and we hope to do many more. This is a brand new one that we just introduced last week. We've got any number of training tools and various programs where we literally are looking for organizations like yours that are doing interesting research in the security and privacy space. We're always looking to crack this nut of not so much yelling louder than everybody else, because we know there's a ton of noise on the internet, especially with the pandemic, but instead to present in a more engaging manner, and to earn people's trust, and of course to entertain as much as we're educating. So if you can think of organizations that are looking to partner with us or support these types of initiatives, or bring inclusivity to the internet, we're interested in doing a lot of stuff, because the generations that are growing up with the internet today are the ones that are going to make a difference in the future. And the converse of that is true. The students and the young people who are not getting access to the internet and to technology resources that they need to develop those skills will find it difficult to compete in the future. So they do need to know what their right to privacy is. Right? And the fact that it's a human right, which they should protect, not just for their own sake, but for those of others around them. Right now, Canadians don't know that this is something that needs to be protected and shared. And certainly I was going to say it's a fight, but it isn't a fight. It's simply a level of awareness that we all need to have. So we're here to work towards an elevated baseline of awareness in cyber safety and privacy. And I'd love to hear from you if you enjoyed this video, if you care about kids or seniors, and if some of your content perhaps targets the same audiences, or simply if you know organizations that would love to support these initiatives. You can find me by email at claudiu@knowledgeflow.ca, or on any of these platforms. These are shortcuts, right? So if you just type into your browser facebook.claudiupopa.com, it will take you to my professional page on Facebook, and you can either follow it or send me a message on there, etc. I look forward to connecting with you, and thanks very much to the whole SecRev team and to Serene Risk for another opportunity to update the world on our research activities this year. Have a great year. See you next time.